Welcome all to the Township Board Business Meeting. Tonight we got a couple things going. We got a presentation. We have a public hearing for the budget. First, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we are going to start tonight. We have in the audience, we have the Honorable Mary Beth Kelly. She's from the 3rd Circuit Court here of Detroit, and she is going to do a presentation. Your Honor, you're up.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm a longtime Groseville resident. I've lived here almost 35 years. My son went to the high school. This is a special treat for me. We have a presentation. It's part of our community outreach. So we're going around to the communities in Wayne County just to give them more of a sense of what the 3rd Circuit Court is, what we do, where we are, and what kind of cases we handle. So this is a PowerPoint presentation. I'll kind of add some things, not too much, and I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has questions. Okay, why am I here? Again, a community outreach. Access to justice is a really important principle right now in all courts. In all courts, it's becoming very, very important that citizens can have access to justice. So if they can't afford a lawyer, for example, if they're handicapped, if they're simply too old to come downtown, we have all kinds of outreach programs, and legal aid has become much, much more available to low-income persons. So access to justice is really what we want to focus on. We do have some annual events at the court that the public are welcome to: Adoption Day, Reunification Day. Reunification is if children are separated from their parents because of maltreatment, Child Protective Services gets involved. That's part of what our court does. And then when the parents rehabilitate themselves and their children go back to their parents, that's Reunification Day. We have Law Day. We swear in new lawyers. Those are some of the annual events. We always want to thank jurors. Has anyone here sat on the Wayne County jury? You have? Good. Oh, good. That's pretty good. Last year, we summoned 220,000 citizens for jury duty. So often, particularly in the criminal division, a jury is picked, and then the case will settle. The case, pleas in most of our criminal cases are resolved by a plea. A plea is considered a conviction, but it sends the jurors home, and they don't like that. Speaking of criminal, we have a new facility, the Criminal Justice Center, CJC as we call it. Very, very state-of-the-art. If any of you served on a jury in the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice, the CJC replaces Frank Murphy. Frank Murphy has been demolished. Okay, so our impact within the Michigan judiciary. So there's district courts. We're in the 33rd district here. There's probate courts. There's municipal courts. Those are less common. Grosse Pointe is all divided up in municipal courts. We in the 3rd Circuit hear appeals from those courts. Not very often, but we do hear appeals from them. Decisions from our court can be appealed to the Michigan Court of Appeals. Some are by right. A lot are by the discretion of the Court of Appeals. The Supreme Court will hear our cases from our court. I served on the Supreme Court for 5 years, and interestingly, people will say, I'm going to take my case all the way to the Supreme Court. Michigan Supreme Court, like the U.S. Supreme Court, the court has to agree to hear your case. It's totally the discretion of the majority of judges. They will vote, and they'll either hear your case or they won't. But that's kind of the Michigan judicial system. Okay, so we just did that. This year, we're celebrating 250 years as our country. The Declaration of Independence didn't create courts. The Constitution of the United States created the United States Supreme Court. Other federal courts are a function of federal legislation. The Michigan Constitution likewise created our Michigan Supreme Court, and legislation has created other courts. Michigan has 10 million unique people with a cross-section all across. I think we know that. We officially have a mission and a vision of our court. Our mission is to serve the community by providing accessible and equal justice for all. And again, so much of that focuses on we call them pro se litigants. That means they represent themselves. There are an awful lot of pro se litigants in Wayne County. Not in the criminal, because you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer appointed to you in the criminal, but particularly family, civil. In family, for example, where I serve, about 70% of our litigants are pro se. They don't have lawyers, and they don't have lawyers because they can't afford lawyers. So we're really, this accessible and equal justice is a big principle that guides us. Our vision, this is our official vision, we want to be an exemplary and innovative court. So we're a very large court, but we also want to really be on the cutting edge of the issues that are facing justice today. And again, a lot of that is access to justice. So we have 60 judges. Judges are elected by groups every 2 years. We have more than 25 referees. Our referees serve in the family division and in the juvenile division. We have 500 or so employees. So Mike Scott, yes, Mike Scott is one of our good employees here from the court. He does a lot of our media. So I want to thank him for the PowerPoint and thank him for being here. So our normal business hours are 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. That's when the court's open. We're the only court in the state of Michigan that operates out of 4 different locations, and that's troublesome. People are called for jury duty and told to go to the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center, and instead they go to Frank Murphy because that's what they know of as court. In the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center, we still have the civil division and the family division. When I say family, that's family domestic. So the domestic portion of the family division. We also have a juvenile Hall of Justice. It's the Lincoln Hall of Justice. And then our friend of the court operations are housed in the Penobscot building. So again, working out of 4 different locations, not ideal. We are funded by both the state of Michigan and Wayne County under a formula that our legislature adopted in 1998. We work in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department, the Clerk's office, the Prosecutor's office. Those are all separately elected officials, but they have a lot of interaction with the court. So the divisions. The civil division, again, lawsuits where damages are over $25,000. Under $25,000, you're going to be in district court. A lot of contract disputes, property matters, election matters. The biggest part of our civil docket right now is automobile accidents. Litigants who get in an automobile accident and they want to sue for benefits, and it's very litigious. That's the biggest part of our civil docket. Criminal, adult felony cases are bound over from district courts. So they start in a district court, and they're arraigned in district court, and a preliminary exam happens in district court, and if they have enough evidence to bind them over, they bind them over. That's the process. We do get some criminal appeals from district courts, not very many. Domestic family. This is the division I'm in. I'm in it by choice. I have enough seniority to be in any division, but I feel like I'm helping people. So, divorce, child support, custody, parenting time, those people are not happy to be in court. They don't have, they're not looking for a good experience. And I feel like I didn't create this mess, so to speak, but I can help untangle things. And so I really enjoy serving in that division. We also have personal protection orders. Personal protection orders, if one's personal safety is threatened, typically in a domestic setting, they can ask for a personal protection order. Last year, Wayne County had 9,900 cases, people coming in asking for a personal protection order. More than half of them were dismissed without a hearing. They did not meet the statutory threshold. So ERPOS is fairly new. Legislation in late '24 established extreme risk protection orders. Often police departments, sometimes mental health providers, sometimes family members will believe that a person has access to a gun, has a gun, and they are at risk for themselves or for others. They can come in and ask that the court enter an extreme risk order, and that individual then has to surrender his or her firearms. The interesting thing with ERPOS is that most of the people that are subject to an ERPO, the respondent, they have like 20 guns. No one has one gun. They have like a list of 20, and they're big guns too. So I think that legislation will be very effective. It's quite new, so we've gotten a lot of them. And then again, the juvenile division, they do primarily child protection services, CPS cases. That's the bulk of their docket. They do juvenile delinquency work as well, adoptions, guardianship, truancy. So again, 4 separate divisions. A judge can't serve in 2 divisions. A judge has to be in a single division. That's how we are organized, so to speak.
Judge?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can I just ask you one quick question?
Yeah, please.
On this, on the ERPO, you said it's called?
Yep, ERPO.
Who's the petitioner? Did you say the police can be?
Police departments often are, mental health providers.
The police can actually be the petitioner against an individual
The police is
to
the
get-
petitioner. Worse than that, the police officer's own name has to be the petitioner. And so it'll say like, Joe Porcelli,
That's fine.
in his official capacity.
Well,
So,
let's say, but it's against Joe Porcelli.
Okay,
who
if it's-
becomes the,
if it's against
I'm
you,
confused on this
so
one.
you'd be the respondent, if it's
Yes.
against you.
Yes.
The petitioner would be police department, a mental health provider, a therapist, a family member.
Isn't there a third party somewhere that is creating this, or we're the ones, the police department are the ones?
Police department files the
There
petition.
isn't a third party that came in and said, I need this now?
No,
They go
no.
through them.
They go through them. And so
Gotcha.
the police, for example, might be called to a home for a domestic violence situation. And they might see a couple fighting, screaming, and the wife says, I'm so terrified, he's got 5 guns and he's gonna kill me. And so the police officer will go out to the car, doesn't even have to file a paper on that, can call, and over the phone after hours can get an ERPO.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. I misunderstood on who is the individual that can get one. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
yeah.
I'm sorry. to slow you
Absolutely,
down.
absolutely. So this just reviews our new cases from last year. These are 2024 numbers, actually. 2025 numbers aren't in yet. Again, the civil cases, 18,000 new cases. Most of that is auto negligence cases. Family division, 33,000. That includes divorce, child custody, also child protective services, and it includes that almost 10,000 PPO cases. So it is a 12.8% increase over 2023. That's significant. We are likely to get additional judges in Wayne County because of our caseloads.
Could I ask you a question that pivots off of?
Please.
So, the ERPO, is there a liability to not requesting one?
So, no, it's
Okay.
like, no, a family member, a police officer, they wouldn't have an obligation to
Okay,
do so.
okay.
No, there's no
They're
liability.
just in fear in that moment and they want something very quick.
Correct,
Yes,
correct.
okay, thank you.
Correct. This is just a picture of the court. We, the court, are pretty well represented in terms of gender diversity, racial diversity. We really are. That wasn't always the case, but it's gotten much, much more progressive in that way. So that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge,
you.
for coming tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I think you
Are
have.
we all set? You know what, I kind of went quick. Are we set on the board?
I think it was very informative, so I appreciate
Oh,
that.
it's my pleasure.
A great overview.
Thank
Actually,
you.
you know what? I do have one quick question. I'm sorry. I know you get ready to roll out of here. Regarding the ERPO, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I don't even
Supervisor.
want to get into that.
I just want to, so petition's filed, judge approves it, whatever the case may be. How does somebody go about appealing that?
So it can be appealed to the Court of Appeals.
Okay,
Like a respondent who believes his or her guns have been wrongfully taken, for example. They can appeal the ERPO to the Michigan Court of Appeals.
okay,
And they typically raise Second Amendment issues.
right.
So, people that have a lot of guns are pretty well versed in the Second Amendment. So that's typically the basis for someone challenging.
So for that moment, they're seized, put on evidence. They're not destroyed until the case is over, that
They're
kind of
not
thing.
destroyed, and it's up to the police department when they can be returned. Like, I think it's a mandatory 1 year, but then after that, we say the police departments have to decide when this person gets their guns back. We, the court, are not doing that.
That's it.
And the legislation does not require that we do that.
Is there a burden that you actually, is there any burden of proof or anything, or, I mean,
Clear and convincing evidence that the person.
well, if a cop could just call and say, hey, I'm taking this guy's guns,
Well,
his wife's
cops are
scared.
trustworthy, first of all, and if he calls, I mean, I've had this happen, where a police officer will call at 10 o'clock at night and say, it was just the domestic case. I was called to a house, there's a domestic dispute, the woman is terrified that he's going to kill her, and there's apparently 5 guns in the house, and I want an ERPO. And that kind of emergency on the phone, the police officer, has to file the papers the next morning. But we can grant the ERPO in that situation. And, it's closely tied to personal protection orders, because personal protection orders, we see so much domestic violence in our courts, and we see people who are legitimately fearful of their life because their partner, their former partner, has threatened them and has access to guns. So the ERPOs and the PPOs kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Judge.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you also
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank you.
tonight. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to close the regular meeting for the public hearing. And we don't need a vote for that. I can just close that. At 7:16, it'll be closed, and we'll start our budget hearing, our public hearing, and Teresa McLaughlin, our finance director, will start this off. And what we're going to do is she's going to have a brief presentation. And after that, any individuals that have any questions can certainly come up to the podium and ask. And one of us, mostly Teresa and Derek, will answer their questions if they can. If not, they'll get the answer and get back with you. So, whenever you're set, Teresa, you are good.
Okay. Thank you and to the board, the department heads, and the public for attending the public hearing for the budget presentation for the 26-27 fiscal year. So we're going to start with the 2026 millage levy, which is what supports most of the township budgets. If you look at the last column, the taxable value for 2025 was $809,299,970, with a total millage of 14.2508, which is the second to the last column. The estimated taxable value for 2026 is $832,053,322, and that's an estimate based on our current taxable value. The taxable value for the parcels related to the toll bridge are removed because now they're exempt, and then a 3% increase was applied. So actually, with taking out the taxable value for the toll bridge, that's an effective increase of actually 2.84%. So the total taxable value, the total tax revenue for this year was, and this is before any brownfield or DDA captures, was a little over 11.5 million. This year, it's 11,150,000. If you look at all the millages, everything is the same as it was for 2025, except during this year we added the toll bridge and the wastewater treatment plant. For the toll bridge, you'll notice the change in the millage. It got reduced to .8005 just for 2026. And the notation at the bottom for the unlimited tax obligation bonds. So we had a debt fund that had, that was for our sewer programs, that the debts were paid off, and it also included our judgment bond, which the final payment is going to be on April 1st of this year. Once we make that payment, we're actually going to have approximately $700,000 of excess collections. And consulting with our bond counsel, the only thing we can do with that is apply it to another unlimited general tax obligation bond. And the toll bridge bonds are the only bonds that we have in the township currently that satisfy that. So once we make that final payment in that debt fund, the money will be transferred over to the toll bridge fund, which then that allows us to reduce the millage only for 2026 for the toll bridge tax levy. So that drops the effective millage rate to just over .8 mils versus the current 1.67 mils. Again, this is only for this year, and we are required to use and apply that $700,000 immediately, as soon as we can, because the residents have paid that money. So that's what the reduction is. So the actual total levy in mills is going to be, and this is also assuming a .99 millage reduction factor. We don't get that information until sometime in the summer. And it's been tracking since I've been the finance director. It's been between .99 and 1.0, which means no reduction. So I typically apply it .99, and we should be fairly close to what it actually is. So taking the 2025 tax levy and applying, and then taking out the equivalent millage to that 700,000 for the toll bridge, and then applying the .99 millage reduction factor, that gives us total millage of 13.4025 for 2026.
And the total then, I just want to make sure I'm correct when I put this out in other areas. Instead of the 1.67 levied, correct, it'll be something different. It'll be
Yes, it'll be approximately .8005. So it's about half.
Can I just say
of what
0.8? When I might,
0.8, yeah.
Is that fair? I mean,
Yeah,
is that fair? Okay. That's what I needed. Thank you.
okay. The next slide is a summary of our taxable value over the last 15 years. So it's been steadily increasing. And then this is a summary of the total township millages for the last 10 years. So we're going from 14.25 currently to an estimated 13.40. So that is, even the 14.25 is the lowest that we've had in the last 10 years. And the I'm sorry, it's not. It's the second lowest. And the 13.4 is the .8 mils lower. So overall budget assumptions, so the budget comparisons that we're doing when we prepared the budget, we're comparing the 2026-2027 proposed budget to the 2025-2026 original budget. As I just discussed, the 2026 estimated taxable value is $832 million, which is a 3% increase, and 1 mil equals 832,000. The millage rates are the same as 2025, less a .99 millage reduction factor, and then the one exception is for the toll bridge millage due to the excess collections on the previous unlimited tax general obligation bonds that we're applying to the toll bridge millage for the 2026 tax year only. Salary increases throughout the budgets are per the wage scales in the union contracts, and so 3% for the POAM, and TPOAM is 2.5%, and the same 2.5% is used for cost of living adjustments for full-time and non-union employees. We are currently undergoing a compensation study that the board approved. So any future wage modifications due to that study are not reflected in this budget. Our 2026 health insurance, originally when it was presented to us, it was a 12.4% increase, and the employee contributions, because of the hard cap, were going to have a significant increase. So our final plans, there was an increase of 6.12% with an increase in the $501,000 increase in the deductibles. PA 152 hard cap amount was an increase of 2.9%. So whatever, because we're under the hard cap, whatever increase the hard cap has, that's the township's increase in their expense. Whatever percentage that the health insurance premiums go up, that amount above that 2.9% is the employee's responsibility. So, which is why when we got, were presented with the 2026 premium based on the plan we had, we felt that was, too much of a burden for the employees, and we did have an option to reduce that. And then with increasing the deductible 500 and 1,000, we also increased their HSA employer contribution 500 to offset that, and that's been previously board approved.
Teresa, did you want questions at the end, or?
Yep, you can, yep.
So the initially, the thought was that it was going to be a 12% plus increase for healthcare.
If we had kept everything the same as what we had in 2025, yes.
So how did we get to the lower amount of 6.12?
So in 2025, our deductibles were lower. Yeah, we changed the plan. We changed
So
the
you
plan.
made
So
the deductible higher.
by increase, it was 1,600 and 3,200, I think.
2,000 and 4,000?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. It was, yeah, I'm sorry. It was 2,000 and 4,000, so that was the 12.4% increase. When we increased it to 2,500, 5,000, it brought the increase down to 6.12%.
Okay.
And then because we were increasing the deductible, we went from a $2,000 employer HSA contribution to a $2,500 HSA contribution. And that's connected to a wellness program.
Mm-hmm.
So then we, each wellness activity that they complete is worth $500. So then we added more options for them to complete their wellness activities to get the employer contribution.
Okay. And the next one, so the MERS contribution of increase, what's the total percentage of the budget for the MERS?
So I would have to get that total.
Okay.
But the annual MERS retirement contribution, the overall increase was 6.39% starting April 1st of 26. However, when you look at the breakdown between the different divisions, the current active divisions, all of those either stayed the same or they had a small decrease. The increase all of the increases actually for the retirees and the employees that have high seniority, that are still in the older divisions. And then finally, we estimated a 20% increase over the current year for our current year actual costs for our property liability and auto insurance. So last year, yes,
Can I back up to the previous topic there for a second? I want to make sure I have a firm understanding. I've listened to this, but
this,
no,
You talk about the,
stay on that page, back up to the 6.12%.
oh, okay, yes, yeah.
When that 6.21% went up, had we made no changes, there would have been a difference between the 6.12% and 2.9% hard cap. And the excess of the hard cap would be absorbed by the employee, if I'm understanding that.
Correct.
Okay, and then we made these adjustments because of that.
So it was originally, instead of 6.12%, the original one was 12.4.
I needed you just to affirm that.
So we tried to reduce that gap, which is the cost that the employees have to pay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any questions? Oh, I know this is a little squished. I tried all kinds of different ways, but this is a summary of the general fund. It's comparing the changes in the total revenues and the total expenditures by department. So overall, the total revenue increased for the general fund by $70,209. Now you see there's a pretty significant decrease in general fund revenues, but a corresponding increase in police department revenues. So historically, all of the millages that went into the general fund had always been recorded under the general department. Didn't really make sense to me for the police millage to be put in that category. So starting with the amended budget for this year and this new budget, I'm splitting the millages so that the police millages go in the police department.
Do you feel this adds a certain clarity to the way it's presented?
I'm sorry?
Do you feel that changes, it's going to make it more clearly understood?
So yes, I'm splitting it so that they're in the proper departments instead of just one number in the general fund, but that's made up of both operating millages and police millages. So I'm recording the police millages under the police department, just a different account number.
So does the police have two account numbers now, is what you're saying?
So
I'm not sure
it's a difference of just between $2 million and $2.1 million.
Okay. Thank you.
The next slide, if you go look at the slide we were on, there's the top line of general fund revenues. So this is the detail of that line item. So you can see the decrease in the property tax revenue. There were changes in a lot of the line items. The state shared revenue. So it's been widely shared that everyone has taken a decrease in the state of Michigan. And it's actually not really because of the sales tax collections. It's because of the amount of money they allocated for funds for the roads and the change with the sales tax that you pay on gasoline at the pump. They changed that to a motor fuel tax, so people have to pay additional tax when they purchase the fuel. In fact, everyone also had to pay sales tax on the inventory they had on December 31st of 2025. So And for the township, that amount was between $6,000 and $7,000 township-wide.
So if you had already purchased gas, so let's say police and fire had already purchased gas, they're coming back to them and saying, now you owe us this
The
incremental?
additional tax, yes.
Wow, that's nice.
So that was a one-time assessment based on the change in the law. So this budget line for the state shared revenue shows a decrease of 48,000. And again, this is comparing the last year's budget to the current year budget. So my budget amount was a little high. So our actual true difference for this current year is just under $14,000. And then for the sale of property, we sold in the current year property at $200,000. We're selling another piece of Grosseal property, and the closing will not take place until after March 31st, and that the proceeds are estimated to be $270,000. I'm using prior year resources of $19,000 because there's going to be a retirement in the finance department, and no, it's not me. And so we still have assigned fund balance from when we had to move money over from the escrow fund that we had for severance pays. So that's the use of the prior year resources, is for her estimated severance. The next slide shows the breakdown of the general fund revenue by category. All the percentages are very consistent with the prior year, only a difference of 1 or 2% in each category. The property tax is actually went up 2%. A portion actually went up about 2%. And that's the percentage within the general fund. It is not township-wide. Next slide is the general fund expenditures breakdown, and again, same thing. There were increases in the clerk's office. Again, 1 or 2% changes. The police department dropped a couple percent. The clerk's office went up, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. The next slide is a comparison of budget versus actual for the general fund expenditures. So we've been keeping under budget with expenditures, which is good because number one, we're not spending more than what we've appropriated, and also at the end of the year, if we have any departments where their expenditures are over budget, it has to be disclosed in our financial statements. So I really like to try and keep that section of our financial statements clean. And this is also the product of doing, budget amendments during the year. The next slide is a comparison of the general fund of revenue, expenditures, and fund balance. So the fund balance is the yellow bar, and you can see it's been steadily increasing. There's a significant increase between 2023 and 2024. And that was a one-time situation. That's when we had to move everything that we had in a separate escrow fund and put it where in the other funds. We had to close the escrow fund. So that's where we got a lot of our assigned fund balance, which included the amount set aside for severance pay, the Kraska estate donation. So that was a major increase, and then since then things have been increasing between 5% and 9%.
Back to that slide. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on what's included in that fund balance number? Does that include cash due to, existing, interfund loans, you know, what, and those balances that are due to? What's part of, what makes up that amount?
So basically, the fund balance is our total assets less the total liabilities in each fund. So it does not include due tos and due froms, which they typically come about because one fund is paying the entire expense for something, and that's typically the general fund, and then all the other funds that it applies to will have to pay them back. So it's basically what our equity is.
There's one thing here on this page that says general fund. There's bars there that are blue, red, and yellow, but I don't know what those colors mean. Maybe I've missed something here.
So the light purple is the revenue. That's
Okay.
each year, that's the total revenue.
The red one's the.
And the dark purple are the expenditures.
Yep.
And then the yellow bar is what our fund balance was at the end of the year. So the revenue and expenditure are actually what those individual years were. The fund balance is a accumulation of whatever,
The
you know,
difference.
if the revenue was more than the expenditures, then the fund balance increases. If the expenditures are more than the revenue, the fund balance will decrease.
Thanks.
Okay. So the general fund summary of changes. The total general fund revenue increased by $70,209, which is 0.895%, not a lot. Property tax revenue increased by $131,000. There were decreases with the state revenue sharing, $15,000 decrease in the cable franchise fee, and then $270,000 from the estimated proceeds from the sale of township property. The revenue includes the use of assigned fund balance. I talked about the one that was just in the general fund. So in the police department, there is a use of prior year resources of $36,300 for police donations and Nebraska state donations to offset some of their animal shelter expenses. We have very specific line items and account numbers for all of those items within the general fund, so that at the end of the year, we can easily track how much those prior year resources, specific prior year resources, are being used. The general fund expenditures had a total increase of $186,596, which is a 2.48% increase. So we're basically keeping up with inflation. The $77,657 decrease in the police department expenditures, it's based on a staffing level of 22 employees, and in the current year, there was no budget required for severance pay. There's no anticipated retirements, so that was $71,000 that was budgeted for the police chief's retirement this year that they're not going to have this year. The $105,000 increase in election costs is due to 2 upcoming elections and the state mandated equipment upgrades at a cost of $101,000. So in our current year budget, the original budget, that cost was split in half, not really knowing when this exactly was going to take place. Thought half of it would be in this current fiscal year, and then the other $50,000 in the next fiscal year. So nothing happened in 25, 26, so now everything is anticipated to happen sometime in 2027. There is a possibility that it will not happen until the following fiscal year, so,
It just continues to carry over. I'm sorry, Mark.
yeah,
No, go ahead.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I just need a little bit of clarification. You said something about the chief retirement for the $77,000, the payouts that come down. I just want to clarify, were we expecting our current chief to retire, or are you talking about the one that just retired?
No, the one that just retired, so
Okay, so-
we knew, a year ago, we knew he was going to retire.
Uh-huh,
So we did an estimate for his severance pay that we budgeted for.
okay.
So in the current year, we budgeted 71,000. It ended up being a little bit more. But looking ahead at 26, 27, there are no anticipated retirements.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah. The communications department budget had a decrease of 27,000 due to equipment replacements being completed in the 25-26 fiscal year. The community development budget had an increase of 72,000, and it's due to our new community development director having a detailed plan to follow up on expired permits and to increase planning and zoning fees to better reflect historical trends and revenues. So when you look back, the planning and zoning, it basically stayed the same at $11,400, $500. When you look at the trends, it was actually double that. The budget had never been updated. So the finance department budget increase of $36,775 is due to the costs related to the retirement of the township's payroll accounts payable specialist on June 30th and hiring of the replacement for this position prior to the day of the retirement in order to have proper training. The general expenditures department increase of $83,000 is due to a 20% increase in general insurance over the current year actual costs and the increase in actual retirement costs for retirees. And then again, that's a lot of that 6.39% increase in MERS, because the current employees, most of those stayed the same or decreased.
Teresa, when you're looking at a 20% increase in premium, do you have a policy of going out to the market again and looking at what other insurance carriers would charge for it?
Yeah, it's just that, you know, our insurance renews on May 14th. So we're just getting ready to turn in all the paperwork for the renewal.
Our broker does review
Yes.
plan providers, both on healthcare and on liability and property insurances.
I guess what I'm asking then is the time frame such that if you see a large increase, is he able to assure you or your agent that he has visited the market for alternative quotations?
Yeah, he reviews the market to determine whether it makes sense to do that,
Yeah,
as far as what other providers
yeah.
would provide.
20% is not insignificant.
And I think it's also par for the course, and all of us probably have seen significant increases in our liability
Yes,
coverages
yeah,
and our
I'm
property
not- I'm not
coverages.
arguing that point.
So, yeah, unfortunately, it's current trends.
Thank
Very
you.
unfortunate.
Right. The next couple of slides are regarding our MERS retirement funding. So our funding percentage, we were at, our most recent actuarial report is from December 31st of 2024. So we won't receive the 12/31/25 report until June of this year. So based on that, our funding percentage was 61% at 12/31/23, and it stayed at 61% for 12/31/24. And this graph is very consistent with the prior year. The only thing it did is it shifted over one year. So we are still on target at the same point in time to be fully funded. And then the different lines are based on the rate of return. So our last actuarial report, we were still at a 6.93 rate of return, which is the solid blue line, which is good for us. We're getting to that fully funded percent level a little quicker.
Are those rate of returns smoothed in these
Yeah.
assumptions?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the rate of return and the estimated annual employer contribution slide? So if you look in 2030, if all things go well, how much is the solid blue line in 2030? Do we know? How much does the township have to pay?
So it's about 65%, probably. We're still on the same graph for the next one.
I'm on the next one, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So this graph is for our estimated annual employer contribution. So the blue line would be in 2039.
Well, what I'm looking at is the blue line, if you'd go 2020 or 2030, our contribution for that year, the blue line is
2.75.
2.7 million. So currently we're at 2,100,000 and almost 50,000 for one of 26.
So what I'm trying to show the taxpayer is that if all things go well and the market returns close to 7%, in 2030, it would be 2.7 million, which, would that still be in the 25% range, guessing that, okay.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to show, though, is that should the market not perform at the 7% range, there is a possibility that the township might have to spend $3 million,
Over $3 million, yes.
up to $4 million.
Correct.
And the reason I mention that is so that taxpayers know that that's an obligation that is going to put a big dent in the budget. If things go well, it might remain the same percentage. If they don't, we could almost see a doubling in our cost.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that
And that cost is not all in the general fund. It's spread according to where the employees are. But every fund that has an employee would have that increase. So it does get spread.
well, the cost to the township would be
The cost of the township is still the same in total, yes.
right. But what I'm trying to show is that we have a long-term obligation there that is significant as far as could be significant as a percentage of the total budget. And should things not go well, that would eat into what we spend,
Correct.
so,
Yes, we have an elephant in the room.
right.
So while we're on the estimated annual employer contribution, all the way, our payments will gradually increase all the way to 2039, and then will start leveling off and decreasing. So going back to our property tax levy, all of that property tax income, it has to be reported in different funds according to the specific use for that levy. So most of them are beyond the general fund, our special revenue funds. So I just want to go over some of the changes with this budget. For fire operating, fire equipment, and public safety building, the new fire truck, ambulance, and generator, all of those we should receive everything and have work completed with the generator within this next fiscal year. We have had those amounts in the budget for the last couple of years, not knowing exactly when they'd be delivered. So the change, that is not impacting the change. What is impacting the $164,000 change is the growing number of volunteer firefighters. We had 7, 8 new firefighters. So now this coming year, we have the full impact of their full stipends and their insurance benefits. And then there's, in the fire equipment fund, there's some additional new equipment that's needed. A generator for, the biggest ones were a generator for engine 1, about $25,000, and an exhaust system in the bay for the trucks, which is sorely needed. We're one of the few that do not have it currently, and that's roughly $100,000. The drug law enforcement funds or forfeiture funds and the National Opioid Settlement. The biggest reason for the decrease of $63,000 is the only thing that's budgeted in the federal forfeiture fund is for the overtime in the police department. There's, we can't budget for anything ahead of time. So the only thing we can either budget for the replacement officer, which we can't do anymore, or the overtime. We didn't budget for any additional purchases, vehicle purchases, equipment purchases at this time.
So is that 167,000, that's all for,
That's all
Over-
for funds.
that's all for overtime?
No, only overtime is only in the federal forfeiture fund, which is from the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Recreation, farm, library, and block grant, an increase of $533,000. Most of that is attributed to our current pool house project is through the Wayne County Community Development Block Grant. So the total project is about $650,000, and majority of the work is being done before March 31st. The remainder of the work is estimated, that will fall in the next fiscal year, is estimated to be $227,000. And then our rec director is doing a great job of getting grants, so he's going to have $100,000 grant from Kiwanis and a $60,000 grant from Wayne County Parks in order to cover the Macomb Street Playscape and pickleball court at Water's Edge. So those are 2 projects that are coming up next year. The Indigent Defense Fund, so we are currently the funding unit for the 33rd District Court for the attorneys for indigent defense. The total budget for the year, based on the state of Michigan information, will increase about $26,000. There's a probability that this will be moved from Roseal to another community within the 33rd District Court, but that's still in the works, so this budget is based on what we know right now.
Teresa, I just, I know I asked this, but I'm asking this again, just so anybody new is watching. This doesn't cost us anything other than obviously your time or the finance department's time. We're not we're not billed for any of this. This is something we're just managing for the 33rd district.
Correct. This is basically a pass-through fund, so we receive the Indigent Defense Grant from the state of Michigan. We receive payments quarterly, and then in turn, we receive an invoice from the 33rd District Court for what they've paid to the attorneys. So we get the money and then it sends out, and currently the 33rd District Court is paying the attorneys, and that's what's changing. They can no longer do that, and so they, as a funding unit, part of our responsibility would be for us to do that. And with people doing double duty, and already stretched out, I requested that we look at changing the funding unit. We've done this since right at about the same time that I started with the township, so it's been almost 3 years. So again, that's still in the works. When that happens, I will probably submit an amended budget just for that fund, so you can see what that looks like. For Open Space Fund, there is no current millage, and they're using their current fund balance for maintenance, so the projected maintenance is increasing $19,500. That still does leave them with a fund balance even after that year. These are special revenue funds on the next slide where they're actually used for capital projects. So the drain and stormwater maintenance, just a small increase of $11,000 in drainage maintenance. The bike path maintenance is an increase of $73,000. They had pretty substantial list of projects for this year, so the major ones are construction on Bellevue and West River sidewalks, bike path bridge maintenance and repairs. Like I said, and then they have a lot of projects going on. The road improvement fund, the budget is a decrease of $535,000. That's because the bond project from 2023 is for road construction, has been completed, and they're and then joint and crack sealing. So now they're continuing with maintenance. The next slide lists our component units. So a component unit is actually legally a separate organization, but it's required to have oversight from the township and to report their financial information. So they're reported separate. They have a separate fund. They reported separately on our financial statements. For Brownfield Authority, the small change of $15,000. Consistent activity, they need to update their brownfield plan as it expires this year, so that's what their focus is. Downtown Development Authority, decrease of $102,000, mostly due to the Lions Park updates being substantially completed during this current year. The next couple of slides on our enterprise funds. So these are the funds that they operate just like a business. So they are accounted for a little bit differently. The first one is the Rosehill Toll Bridge. So the 25-26 year was our first year of operations. When I did the budget a year ago, it was with very limited information. So we learned a lot this year. We were able to line up and have a much more accurate budget now that it's owned by the township. So the picture on this page, The commission had a contest township-wide for a new logo, and this is the winner. So this budget does assume a full year of operations. The engineers have not been able to give us a solid date of when the upgrades will start and when the bridge will close. But in all likelihood, it will be substantially the entire year. And we would be under budget for everything. Depending on when it happens, then I would do a budget amendment to line things up as far as bond sale proceeds, and starting payments for the upgrades.
Just to give a little bit more information on that, the bids for the construction project are probably gonna be due in June or July. The reason we can't put a definitive date on when the construction will take place and the bridge will close, for that construction is because until we get the bids in and until we talk to the winning contractor about their scheduling of the project, it'd be premature for us to give a date when that would occur without consulting with them, reviewing procurement of materials with them, things of that sort. So we should have a much better idea in June or July when those bids end up coming in.
Teresa,
Yes.
I noticed here that the $11,000 figure was the previous year. Was that difference being higher at that time because the county bridge was closed and we had an increase in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And keep in mind also that these dollar figures here also include a substantial amount of engineering expense. So this isn't just strictly operations. There's also, well, I mean, unless you consider engineering to be operations, there's a lot of money in there for that as well, so.
I think there's some good news on that topic. If not,
Our engineering costs came in substantially lower than anticipated, but
that's
I don't want the residents to get the idea that, you know, the bridge revenue is $11 million or something like that, just from tolls. There's a lot that goes into this budget that's above and beyond just toll revenue and operational expense on a daily basis, right? Those expenses and revenue.
how does this compare with original estimates of what was going on? Is this better where the costs are down and the revenues are running steady, something like that?
As compared to what the private operator was experiencing?
Well, it could be that. Yeah, I was thinking of what we estimated when we put the first batch of numbers together, which may
I think when we looked at what the private operators' revenue and expenditures were,
then that's what I'm asking.
we had a pretty good feel for where we were gonna be. There were some things that were surprising. There were also some things that, you know, were not. So, insurance was one thing that was surprising to us. It was substantially higher than what,
They found things weren't everything copacetic. When those repairs were made, the premiums were down, if I remember correctly.
but the Bridge Commission has been doing an excellent job in making sure that, you know, things for this upcoming year are gonna be budgeted as accurate as possible, as well as Teresa's been working on that. So I think the budget that's being presented to you is a pretty solid expectation for next fiscal year.
Thanks.
So, doing the budget for 26, 27, I have to say basically every line item had to change. Some more significant than others. The biggest change was with the engineering contract. It was estimated to be $7.5 million. The actual contract is just over $3.6 million. Also going forward for 26, 27, this year we had to pay property taxes. And after this year, now the parcels for the toll bridge are now exempt, and so we won't have that expense. Also, going forward to 26, 27, we sold the bonds on February 13th of 2025. Our first bond payment is due on April 1st of 2026. So the total for the year, because we have one principal payment and two interest payments, is $1,935,000. Our actual requirement on April 1st is just over $1.5 million between the principal and interest. So that's coming up very quickly. Our contract with the staffing company, we actually, the original budget was based on having the employees for 90 days. They were township employees for 9 months. So the staffing contract was effective 1/1/26. And then last year we had put in a budget for a contract for the operations and maintenance of the bridge. As we got no responses, that we're continuing as we are. So that accounts for almost $3.8 million in change from last year, or this year. The Groseal Airport, which includes the airport, Commerce Park, and the fuel farm, there's an increase in their overall budget of $513,000. Most of that amount is they are going to receive an FAA grant for the resealing of taxiway C and the design and construction of concrete joint sealing for taxiways E and F. And the total estimated cost is $448,000. There were all, and that's a federal grant, and there's also market increases in the hangar rent to keep the same pace as the expenditures. For the Department of Public Services, the estimated increase in the budget is $1.6 million. So the revenue increased in service charges and usage rates for sewer, water, and refuse, and it was primarily attributed to capital improvement costs. The water included $800,000 to begin implementation of the water capital improvement schedule, and the sewer includes $700,000 of sewer-related capital improvements to be completed in 2026. So once the budget is approved, the commission is going to continue to finalize the rate increases, and with the intent to minimize the rate increases as much as they can. The next slide is a summary of our upcoming bonded debt. So for the first two lines, for the Department of Public Services, for their prior water and sewer bonds, they actually, one of the bonds got paid off during this current year, so now there's 2 bond issues left that mature from, one's in 2031 and the other one's in 2040. The Department of Public Service, the wastewater treatment plan and the road improvement bonds that were issued in 2023, we have those payments. So the state revolving fund for the judgment bond, the payment of $586,000, that's on April 1st, and that will be our final payment for that bond. And then we have the for the toll bridge, the unlimited tax general obligation bonds for phase 1 of the project. And again, that's the $1.9 million that we will have to pay during this next fiscal year. So before we continue with comments, I just want to make sure. So everyone was, so we did convert our budget from a lot of Excel spreadsheets to an online budgeting software. It was a lot of effort from not only myself, but from Derek and all the township managers to pull the information together and get that set up for the budget book. And everyone did such a great job. There's more to add to it too, but it's a work in process. But if you go through the budget book, not only will you see an analysis of the different funds and their revenue and expenditures, but for the major departments, All the department managers did some narratives of their operations, what's going on now, what's coming up, and provided pictures as well. And this is what we're going to be using going forward. So are there any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much. I got a question before we close the public. No,
So-
you're good.
I'm done, yeah.
Okay. Before we close the public hearing, did any come in by email for the public hearing? No. Okay. Anybody now from the public wish to comment, have a question, or, and if we can't get it to you, we will get it. If we don't have that answer immediately in front of us, we will get it to you. Anybody? Nobody? Okay.
Can I just make a comment? Teresa, thank you very much for taking ClearGov and making it usable for and all the managers that helped put the information together. This is a significant amount, what are there, 360 pages of information, and I think you did a very fine job, as well as everybody else in the township, including township manager and all the managers. So thank you very much for putting this all together.
So, it's also intended, it helps with our transparency. This will be available to the public after the next budget meeting, after the board formally adopts the budget.
And ClearGov is online
Correct, yes.
on Grozill's website. It's going to take a little bit of a learning curve for everybody to learn how to use it, including me. And I think it's very well done, and I appreciate you recommending it to us.
So currently, it's one of the items at the top of our page, and you go to it, goes to the link to the finance page, and there's a blue box that has the link to the current transparency page with ClearGov that has a lot of useful and interesting information. And then added to that will be the link to the budget book.
Will there be a kind of a way for anybody that wants to understand how to use it? Do they put a kind of a how-to with the?
At any time, if anyone has any questions, they can contact me. So the budget book is set up, there's a table of contents at the beginning. So it directs them to to the general fund, and within the general fund, every department, and then all the other funds, and it directs them. And each section is very consistent as far as the type of analysis that it does, and each one probably has about 3 pages, but each department also starts with the narratives and pictures from the department heads about their department.
Great.
So I tried to make it very consistent and not hopefully repetitive too much, but it does have some different analysis and things as well, and there is a table of contents at the front as well, but
Thank you
I
very
can
much.
direct anyone who contacts us.
Hey, Teresa.
Thank you.
So I remember when you were asking the managers to put in the descriptions, and I'm like, oh, they're so busy, right? But I was going through that, and the descriptions really help. Like, I've heard over and over again that the police, were really, because of the millage issues, they were really relying on the forfeiture account. And so you get this good description telling you what that can be used for, and then seeing, a slide to back it up showing how much it went down. So the fire department, I was able to get in there and see everything. I was able to see about the opioid settlement. So I think those descriptions, as well as the numbers, are really helpful. And I do appreciate all the hard work that all of you guys put into it. It's really helpful.
Yeah, they did such a great job.
Yeah.
it took a little bit, and everybody, because we're all busy.
Why didn't I see
And,
pictures of the
but, you know,
managers
it came
though?
down to it, and the
Teresa, why
things
did,
that, because they had to send everything to me so that I could load those pages and everything, and
it was so
everyone.
much. But look
did a
at, they're
really good
laughing.
job.
Why didn't they put their own pictures in it?
They didn't want anybody drawing nasty faces on them or mustaches that weren't supposed to be there. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're
But
hip to
thank you
that.
very much, all of you.
Well, you're special.
All right, thank you. All right, at 8:20, the public meeting will be closed. We'll reopen the regular meeting. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Could I please, I have a question,
Sure.
on the check register, so I'm hoping we can just maybe pull that and put that as an action item separate from consent?
So that's number number 2, you're asking to go on an action item. Very good.
Yes,
And
please.
that does not need a vote, it's automatic. Okay, that's set. Any other deletions or additions to the agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to have number 3 put on either an action or a discussion item at this point in time.
You want number 3 to go to an action item?
Or an action or at least discussion. Actually, I would like to table it at this point, personally.
We can, you want to ask the table? We can do that if you're trying to get more info or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to get more information. I think we should table it this time. And
Okay, now that, then we would just need a,
Second.
we got a second, then we need a vote.
What's the effective date on that, Mark?
I'm sorry?
What's the effective date? When do we need to have this done?
Like when you want to discuss it.
End of the fiscal year, before the beginning of the fiscal year.
For April 1st.
Yeah, so I mean, we can go ahead and schedule something within the next 2 weeks if you like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we have our next board meeting, right?
Well, could we,
This month?
23rd, we have a board meeting.
Yeah.
could
it would
we
have to
discuss
go
it?
in there.
Could we have a study session between the board, this board meeting and the next?
Is there
Yeah,
enough
more.
there, Mark? I don't know what you have, Mark. What do you think you need, Mark? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I just want to look at something like a year ago, I brought this up too. Like, for instance, I'm just going to just use attendance records for right now. We have some issues across some of the boards with attendance issues, and we go ahead and put this, we just rolled it through. We did last year, and they've done it in previous years, without really taking a look at who's serving, who isn't, and maybe we should replace some of the commissioners. That's kind of where I was going with this.
Okay, do we have to have this done by the 1st of, you have to have it done?
Yes.
Okay,
What happens if we don't?
yeah, I mean, if,
I assume they still meet and
yeah, they still just,
That's a good question. I would say, which one is 3? I'm sorry. Is it
it's the reaffirming the commission members.
commission members? I guess they would still meet, but if they don't have quorum based off of them not being approved, then they wouldn't be able to meet. You understand what I'm saying?
but we have to approve them.
So if there's 7 on there, but there's, let's say there's 4 from one that commission alone, then they wouldn't be able to meet because they wouldn't have quorum.
So it's not like a contract. We can just, if a contract expires, everything's the same till you fix it. That's not how it works, is it?
No.
Okay.
Do it at the next meeting.
Yeah. And we have a study session coming up anyways, if
Next
we need to use
Monday.
the tail end.
When do we have a study session coming up?
Is that next week?
Next
Like
Monday, I
Monday?
believe.
Next Monday? Yeah.
Monday?
What's that study session?
Please,
Please.
please.
No, that's separate. That's the opposite Monday. Whatever you need, Mark, we'll, I guess, what do you think? How can we get this in?
If you want to schedule a standalone study session for this topic, we can check your availability to see if we can set something up before the 23rd, because the 23rd would be when you would need to act unless
Okay.
there's a special meeting.
Mark, that's about all, that's the only thing we can do, which probably is what you want, so why don't we do that?
Okay.
Why don't we
sounds
look for a study session? So what you're gonna do right now is we're gonna vote to table this then.
good. Correct.
We do have to have a vote on this. So we had a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, that went through, so we'll table number 3. And, hold on, you know what I didn't do, Margaret, I apologize. That action item then will become, from number 2, will become number 4. Okay?
Is Mark, are you tabling 3 and 4? Is that what the goal is?
No, 3.
Just 3, okay.
Seems like we should present them together.
That's fine, if that's what the board would like to do.
Present what together? I'm sorry.
The committee members and the committee chairs. I mean, it's just kind of the same topic.
Yeah, isn't it the same
Right.
thing?
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's 3 and
Well,
4,
it's 2
Joe.
separate issues, but,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why, can we just use them both?
sure.
Okay. So that's tabled also. I should have included, or we should include it in there.
You can't do that though, because you've already voted on the other one, so now you have to do a
I'll
separate.
move to table item, consent agenda item number 4.
I'll second it. Okay, we had a discussion already. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, that's carried. Very good. So 3 and 4 are together. That's tabled.
And Joe, I don't think that discussion would take that long. I mean, maybe consider putting it after the police special meeting, just at the end of it, right? Tack on some time instead
We'll
of
look. Yeah, we can
having
look.
2 different nights next week.
Or you could do it before, but I know that's hard for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate,
Yeah,
though.
we'll get it done.
okay.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so we got, number 2 is changed, 3 and 4 are tabled. Then, okay, I'm gonna need a motion to present agenda as amended then.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, may have Margaret second it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Are we just amending the consent agenda?
We're amending, no, we're amending the agenda itself. The consent agenda, you'll read number 1, and I think that's it.
That's it.
Yes, you'll read number 1, sir.
The other is tabling the POAM contract for this evening. And so we can do further discussion of that.
Okay, where are we, sir? Number
That's
2?
under action items.
Yeah, you wanted number 2? Is that correct?
Action item number 2, I'd like to table.
Okay.
Why would we table, though? I mean, we had a special meeting on that, and pretty much everyone discussed it. What issue causes it to be tabled?
I think there are issues that need further discussion, and if we're having a meeting coming up on the contract, you said?
It's not on the contract, it's about the millage.
No, the millage is study
Okay.
session.
Well, I think there are a variety of issues that go with this that I would like to discuss further.
Can we discuss it in the action item tonight?
My preference would be to do a study session for it.
I think I would have supported that.
So the agreement's gonna expire at the end of March. And, I mean, I know we had that one study session. It's gonna get close to the date where you have to have that renewed.
Well, if we're having a study session for the committee members on reappointing the chair people, we could also put this on that study session agenda and go over some of the issues that are with that.
I mean, I wouldn't support it, but
Yeah,
we can
I
take a
won't
vote.
either. I guess I would ask that if this comes to
Did you
this,
make the motion?
that we
Well-
have to make sure that if there's questions, that they're very clear, because we can't keep pushing things down the,
Yeah, and
down
this
the
is
field.
just
Understood.
to renew the contract for 1 year, so then we can go off and look at things like the millage and the funding and the budgets, and so this is actually giving both parties time so that we can go off and do those things.
I think there was some figure due outs, wasn't there? Like,
There was what?
like numbers. Kevin, didn't you ask for?
There's more information that I think is important to review with the contract and the dollar amounts of, in other words, we're going to continue with what we have and some of the issues that are along with that as far as budgeting and for next year and the following year.
I think that a number was provided as far as what the 3% would cost, and it's been incorporated into the current budget. There are some outstanding figures as it relates to pension expenses or reductions in pension expenses from the previous, I guess, pension adjustments in the existing contract. Those numbers have not been received from
That's-
MERS yet.
That's
But-
really among the questions that I think are important.
Yeah, and those numbers, I think, are most critical for, future contracts, right, to determine that the one-year extension is, I guess that's up to you as far as what information is critical for you to make that decision, but this is just for a one-year extension.
When is that information coming, Derek?
I don't know, I'd have to check with MERS and
I
find
mean, I
out
don't
when.
expect it this month, right?
If Derek has other information that feels that it's important,
I wouldn't want to tell the board what information that they should want to see before they make a decision, but really those pension numbers, I think, are more reflective of, the current contractor that we're in and the cost offsets in the pension, which I think are critical for long-term discussions.
all right.
But
All right, I know we have at least three already. I'd like to see it, and get those numbers also. I think we'll do that then. So we gotta vote on it anyway, Kevin, so.
So we want to make a motion to table the action item number 2, POAM contract, and have a meeting, study session, and go over those.
just
Issues.
one quick other item, this is a negotiation, so if these are conversations about a contract or contract terms, those are grounds for a closed session, not necessarily a study session.
Yeah, it
So-
can't be in a
Right.
regular meeting.
Right.
Because of what we're talking about. Like tonight, we still can't talk about it tonight then in an action item to vote for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest having conversations about an outstanding contract during the meeting.
All right,
other
we'll
than-
figure that out.
Yeah, so,
We will
Yes,
figure
thank you,
that
But
out.
if we don't get it effective by, the 1st of next month, then we have an issue, because now we're in a position where we have no collective bargaining agreement in effect with the police department.
Well, it's the same.
If that
No,
were
it
to
goes.
happen, though, they're still gonna continue as
It goes.
business is normal at this point.
After the first of the year, if we don't have a contract or we're in some kind of negotiation still, or a study session or a closed session, and we go over the time limit, they just have the continuous of the same contract. We're
Well,
good.
they'd have to sign a side letter stating that they'd be willing to follow the contract, right? I don't
No,
think it
no,
happens
it's
automatically.
automatic.
No, the
It's
contract
automatic.
stays in place as is.
Yeah, it stays in place until, but I just don't, there's no negotiation issue with,
I didn't see that in there.
with being, not negotiating correctly, so that's not it. Okay, why don't we go ahead? We have at least three, and then I've got to make the deciding vote, it looks like, so, go ahead. Did you want,
So I'm making a motion that we.
did we already do that?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That we discuss it at the upcoming study session.
All right,
Second.
Seconded by
okay. Any other discussion?
I've got a question.
Go.
Are we going to make this a quote, private meeting, unquote?
It has to be. We can't talk about negotiations. Yeah, we can't make, just like today, I wasn't great on, depends how much talk we were gonna do tonight. We could vote on it, but we can't talk about the intricacies in an open meeting. I wasn't comfortable with that. Okay? Okay, so for, POAM contract, to table it, and we'll figure out the date and time later and how we're gonna do this. All in favor?
What, could we have a roll call vote? I'm sorry.
Sure. Do a roll call vote on this. Okay,
Yeah.
Margaret,
Nay.
Mark,
Aye.
Kevin,
aye.
Jameson,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and Mickey.
Nay.
And Joe, I will go yes due to the circumstances. So,
Thank you, everyone.
that is, well, I guess that's 5 too, but still the majority is there. The 4 are in. All right. Where are we here? Do I need,
Not much of an agenda left.
yeah, no, what do I need now? Brian, I have to,
You just gotta approve it as amended.
gotta prove it. I need a motion, right, to approve it as amended.
So
Motion
move.
moved.
Okay, need a second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, now. Okay, number one.
Consent agenda?
I'm sorry. What's that?
Do you want to do the consent agenda first?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry, Kevin, really, go ahead. Go ahead, do the consent agenda, my mistake.
Well, we do have public comment too.
Oh. Oh, you mean a regular not from the public hearing?
Right.
So, go ahead with the public comments before we do the consent agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Zelasco waved off.
Anything on?
I do not have any.
Okay,
Oh, I thought you,
so there is no public comment at this time.
okay, I'm gonna pull this up. In my talking, it left, for the, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
This evening's consent agenda, I move that the Township Board approve consent agenda 25-108, consisting of the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 regular meeting.
So move.
Thank you, and that is all. Everything else has either been moved to an action item or to they've been tabled, so we can vote on that if you would like.
Okay, for consent agenda 25-108, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried, agenda 25-108 carried. Okay, action items, I'll do the first one. It's the Wallman contract approval. The Grosse Ile Township hereby approves the signature of the attached contract between Wallman Unlimited and the Township of Grosse Ile. I need a second.
Second.
Township previously approved the proposal from Wallman. This is an approval for the actual contract terms and verbiage, and there's an attachment. I hope you guys went through this. I'm not gonna read, obviously, all the differences. This was brought back up, and we did some changes on it. It had some, I don't wanna say issues, but, Derek, if you wanna expound a little bit on that. And
Yeah, so the terms and conditions changed slightly from the original proposal. And when you approved the original proposal, it was approval of the proposal, not necessarily the actual contract itself. So with the change in terms and conditions, we felt it was appropriate to bring it back to the board to make sure that it received an approval with what the terms and conditions ended up being, like I said, because they were different than the original proposal, so.
All right, is there any questions or concerns on this? Okay, with none. Action item number one, Wallman contract approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Make sure we got the right number here. 2 is gone. 3, the concrete sectioning and joint replacement contract extension. Is that through DPS?
I can, yep.
Can't. Somebody has to make a motion.
Did somebody make the motion yet?
No.
Make a motion to accept the concrete sectioning and joint replacement contract extension.
Second.
The DPS department has proposed in its 26-27 budget concrete work with the available road improvement funds provided by the road millage in order to make the most efficient use of these funds. Township has approached Gaglio Construction, Inc. about holding their bid prices from 25 and extending their contract into 26. Gaglio has agreed to do so. Extending the contract saves the township its bidding cost. Gaglio was a low bidder in 2025 by a wide margin, and construction costs have gone up since 2025. These two items combined ensures the most amount of taxpayer funds that are available to improve township roads, which is always the case. We'd rather put as many dollars as possible into the roads rather than spend them on either administration or increases in cost. If you take a look at the second page of the action item, that's the bid tally from 2025. You can see Dominic Gaglio was low bidder by a significant margin. So that should give us some assurances that they will continue to be the lowest bidder for this work for the upcoming construction season.
All right.
They're a local company, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Okay, any questions, concerns? Action item number 3.
I'm just curious, how is this any different than the Campo Brothers that we pushed out? It's basically the same. We're extending a contract because they're the lowest bidder, and they're continuing to be that lowest bidder. That was the same as the Campo Brothers. And I really struggle with, the inconsistency.
The only difference I would highlight is that we did receive multiple bidders for the concrete sectioning. We had 8. With the water main repairs and excavation contracts, we don't receive as many bidders, so I think there probably aren't as many comparables to rely on. But
I think that's due to the nature of the,
I would say that's probably the case.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep,
When was this bid on, Derek?
2025,
So it was bid on last year.
correct.
And when was the original bid with Campo Brothers done?
The original bid was probably 2018, and then we rebid it in 2023.
Did you rebid it or extend it?
No, we rebid it in 2023.
Okay.
I believe it was 2023. And then the original term was 2 or 3 years, and then the vote to extend it was last year, which is, we extended it for a year. Yes.
Okay, so it ends up being a total of 4 years. And when is it coming up again?
So your extension was only for a year, so I believe it's this upcoming spring that you guys will have to review
Okay.
that again.
So why do we go and bid projects out? Why do we do that as a township?
To ensure that we receive the most competitive pricing possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
yet Campo was the most competitive pricing, and in addition to that, they were extending pricing from an earlier, 2 years prior?
Yeah, actually. The second bid, I think in 23, their bid was slightly lower than it was in like 18.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's no substantive differences. We just have to figure out as a board whether we want to do this on a regular basis or not. I mean, we just need to set the rules and follow them, right?
It is a best practice by most municipal financial organizations that it is in the best interest of the taxpayer to go out and have things bid and rebid. And if, I think it is in the best interest, and it is a good practice to, even if you think that the bid is the best out there at the time, it does make sense to consider rebidding.
Yeah, and I think it's incumbent upon the department managers to present to you, if there is a request for bid extension, as we're doing today, why it makes sense, and show you the facts as to why it makes sense.
Which
So-
you did, just so we're clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess we'll find out in April or May.
Okay, action item number 3, concrete sectioning and joint replacement, contract extension. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Okay, action item number 4. Brian, when, just for a point of order, so when you take a consent agenda item and put it on an action item, it obviously has to be voted on, so we have to have a motion not to change it, but a motion for what then? Do you understand?
I don't know, well, I don't know what we're,
Yeah, so you're talking about the check registers. So
right,
someone
you're
would still
asking me
have to
what
be-
I don't know what the problem is with them, so I can't really answer you.
Okay, so if we just get an action item to get it in a second to talk about it, we can make a motion, the check register and invoice register dated through March 6th be reviewed, or,
You could make a motion to accept check registers and invoice registers dated 6 March 2026, and then
Then you can start your,
Then you can-
get a second, and then you can start your discussion on,
that would be kind of you.
okay, so I move to accept check registers and invoice register dated through 6 March 2026.
Okay, and I'll second it. And now let's get into what the issue is. No,
No, we have to debate.
No,
then
we gotta
vote.
talk about it first, Bill. Okay. Margaret, do you wanna start? I think I've got a comment question.
Yeah,
Also,
I have
and-
questions, so, just so we're clear, I'm really concerned about what the process is for determining when checks are signed by the treasurer versus chosen not to sign. I'm just concerned that there are choices to not sign checks, but yet they come onto the consent agenda, and there's a completely unanimous vote approving them, and that's just not really correlating for me. So I just want to understand what the actual process is supposed to be.
Okay, Kevin, do you want to give an answer to that? And I have a question, or I guess it would be a question, a follow-up question, that now that it's brought to an action item, so. I guess her question is, what, the bottom line here is, why aren't checks being signed, I guess? And I guess we come here and there's an action item, and we vote 7-0, yet there's some checks that you don't want to sign. That's the basic. And my follow-up, let me just give you a follow-up, because your answer might be both. Do you know what I mean? It might help you in your answer in trying to answer this. But I guess I need to know then what policy gives an individual right that has the statutory authority to sign the checks within township when you just don't want to sign certain checks. And I don't know what policy that is, because I did look it up. Jameson added, last meeting, was it Jameson, or maybe it was the meeting before that, some statutory information on it. So go ahead, Kevin, you can explain that if you like.
My understanding, and again, this is a state law that has a variety of, it's not a single, there are nuances to the rule, and it does say that the treasurer can ask the deputy treasurer to sign something, to sign a check that the treasurer does not want to sign. That's my understanding of it. If you have some other understanding, please let me know what that is.
Well, I guess what you're doing is you're answering the question by going one step further, and I get that. I understand what you're trying to do here. There's some checks that you just will not sign. There's either a moral issue to it in yourself, or you don't agree with what they're doing. But when the township has an event that you may not agree with, you still have a duty to sign checks. Now, you're saying, but I can give it to the next person. In other words, what you're doing is you're delegating your authority and saying, I have the right to delegate my authority and give it to someone else. The question is this what you're going to do, is not sign checks that you just don't agree with, and you can give them to Sue, and then I have to come in and do the initialing? And I guess my whole point is, if that's the basis, then.
Well, first of all, as the supervisor, my understanding is that you're not supposed to sign any checks.
I don't sign a thing, I initial.
Okay.
I don't sign a thing, but what you make me do then is go and do what shouldn't have to be done, I guess. And I'm glad kind of Margaret brought this up tonight, because we've been trying to talk about it. It doesn't seem to get done. So unfortunately, it had to come up in an open meeting, because this is where transparency exists. So I guess my point is, are there going to be checks in the future that you're not going to sign because you don't feel like signing them for one reason or another? And the reasons that Jameson stated, and I do believe Jameson has the correct legal verbiage, that it doesn't fall under one of those issues. That's my point, I guess, right now. And I'm glad it came to a head. Unfortunately, it came to a head at a meeting. So, I mean, we could.
Well, so would you repeat your question, please?
Well, I guess my question is, are you going to continue to not sign checks you just don't feel like signing because you don't believe in whatever the check is for? Obviously, that was the case in this matter. And you say, I have the legal authority to delegate it to someone else. If that's the defense you're using, I get it. I actually get that. That's a defense, that you don't want to sign checks and you're delegating to the next person. Is that how it's going to work?
Well, you're making the question a negative.
Correct.
Okay.
You're right, I am. I absolutely am.
And
Oh, you're right.
what I'm responding to is, I believe under the law, I have the right to delegate certain things to the deputy treasurer. If I'm not here, the deputy treasurer has the right to sign it. If I delegate it to the deputy treasurer, my understanding is I can do that.
Well,
If there's an issue, I would suggest that our attorney clear that issue up.
She did give me a legal opinion.
That's great.
She did.
And I appreciate that you have given me a heads up before this meeting to discuss this. So,
This could have been discussed 3 times with me and you. It could have been discussed, and it didn't come to fruition.
what I'm saying, I'm also, there are certain things that I think I've chosen to make a certain decision about it, and I've done it in a certain way so that it would not embarrass other people. And I think that what's happened in the past is, in the near past, the check register and what I sign and when I sign it and how I sign it has been used as a cudgel in a political, the course of political things that the board does. And if there is a problem with it, please bring it to the attorney, the township attorney, and we can discuss it that way. I do not feel that I have done anything wrong. Simple as that. I think that I have the right to say, ask the township deputy to sign something, and if there's a law that says something different or an interpretation, please let me know.
Okay.
No, I think you do. You do have the right to have the deputy sign things, but you previously stated that you will expressly review and sign all checks, right? So if you're going to refuse to sign a check, you need to inform the deputy that you're going to do so it doesn't delay the financial process, right? Otherwise, it sits there waiting for your signature, and then eventually you come and review it, and you decide you're not signing that one, and then it's got to go over to the deputy.
I will say that I don't believe that I have ever delayed any issue from being paid in a timely manner. There may have been one issue when I first started that I was out of town or something. I'm not quite sure what the issue was. And it was a new issue to everybody, so that may have taken a little bit longer. Again, if there's an issue that the attorney has something there that you would like to discuss, that's fine with me.
So I spoke with the rec department, and the last check, from what I understand, it was delaying payment, and they were all stressed out because
Both
they were
of them, it
working
delayed
so
both
hard.
payments.
Yeah, and they were working so hard, and like, this is ridiculous. Why does he keep refusing to sign our checks? Because I'm aware of at least 3 for the rec department. Remember the barn windows as well. And it gets worse. No, I'm not done. It gets worse because we have nothing on the books that say we will pay if somebody's car runs into something on township property and gets damaged. So from what I understand is you went around and were very vocal to have Bob C's costs reimbursed and wanted the full amount reimbursed. And then when it was decided, well, a couple people decided we would just pay his deductible, you then said, well, I don't want to sign the check. That's grifty.
I think that you are misinformed, and
I bet you do, because there's no way you're going to admit this. You have not
Okay,
admitted
hold on, let him.
Ever.
Yeah, we're gonna go one at a time then.
So I still have an issue that check got paid without it going to the board for his deductible. That was not proper.
Okay, hold on,
and it
Mickey,
should have been
that's,
by us.
yeah, that's, hold on a second.
so why don't you take that one, because you made the decision there, I did not.
Oh, no, don't put that on Joe.
Let's,
Do not put that on Joe.
Derek and I did make a decision to pay that due to, we spoke with Zaid, and we got into some of the legal issues with it. I don't want to get into this right now. What we're doing is one thing at a time.
But Joe, I do want to get into it because it's been
Oh.
out there. You and Derek did nothing wrong. You made a
No, no,
business
that's fine, yeah.
decision,
No,
right?
no, I'm saying we
But it was
gotta-
the fact he pushed for it, but then said, but I'm not going to sign it. He
I-
didn't want the proof of his signature on that check.
Right. My point is, we got to get, right, one thing at a time here. First one, let's do these with this group of issues. So let's do this, Kevin, I'm going to give you this. With your explanation, I'll get back with you. I'm going to talk to, I got no choice, I got to talk to Kristen. and and maybe you have the right to let Sue sign all the checks. I mean, maybe you have that right.
If I wasn't here,
Yeah.
my understanding is if I'm not in the office, the deputy treasurer has the right to sign.
Yeah, we do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right.
Can I
But
take
it's
us
the-
back to my original issue? In addition to the fact that I also did a little homework, and I don't think there's a legitimate reason to refuse to sign a check when you're available. However, my issue is that the checks that were refused for signature or stamping then came to consent, and we all vote in the affirmative. So my concern is, if you have issues, whatever those might be, with the stamping of the check, then how do you then vote in affirmative on consent? That's my concern. Because does that put us all in a precarious position? Does that make us, should we be questioning, what's gone on? That's my concern, from a
Well-
fiduciary duty point of view.
This has turned political.
There's nothing
Margaret,
political
it is
about it.
political.
It's not remotely.
Okay, let me ask a question that is off topic. Is that okay with you?
Off
No,
topic?
I don't
It's
think
a
it
little off
is.
the
It's not
topic.
Well, it's
appropriate.
off topic, no, because I just cut Mickey off, so I'm gonna cut you
Well,
off.
But it's
You
not
cut her
off
off.
topic, it's about the check, the approval of the checks and how the process
It's another
works,
example is what you're saying.
right?
I
Yeah,
understand
and we need to support our committee members. We can't be stressing them out saying we're not gonna sign a check. I mean,
I think that's an inaccurate statement. I think that you're incorrect in saying that. I'm sorry, the checks get signed, and it's done in a timely fashion. And if you want more information, it will be, I'm willing to provide that, but again, I don't have, you're broadsiding me at a meeting without telling me ahead of time that you're going to do this, and I think that it's, I can certainly put something together and I will bring it to the next meeting.
When I raised the concern, though, I was told that a conversation was had with you by Jameson, who's the liaison for rec. He said, everything's been resolved. I said, okay, then I feel better about that. I feel no need to bring it up at a meeting. And then another check was chosen to not be signed. So there's nothing political in what I'm doing. In fact, I actually let it go the first 4 times. It's the 5th time
Well,
that I said,
the last 4
something is not
times-
right here.
The last 4 times I asked you about the Communications Commission, you're in violation of a board order. You are not doing what you were asked to do by the board. What are you going to do
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
not,
so you're
that's,
changing
I'm
the
not in
subject.
any
so you don't have
violation,
to
tonight. We
answer.
can bring
That's
that
the
up
thing.
some
I'm
other-
not in violation.
no, hold on,
are.
hold on.
Margaret, he's trying to change the subject.
I know.
Everybody,
Can't very well establish a communication commission by herself.
okay, hold on. Everybody stop. I'm gonna cut you all off. We gotta stay on task here.
I will respond to Mickey's allegation, and Mickey's allegation is totally incorrect. What happened is, Mr. Zelasco, his car was damaged in the parking lot of the rec department. It cost him more than $1,500 to have it repaired. I thought that the damage that was done because of a piece of metal sticking out of the ground, which his car caught on. Those pieces of metal sticking out of the ground could have hurt some. It was also near the playground and dog park. That should have been repaired, should have been fixed, should have been followed through with. It was not, and I thought it was only fair that he be compensated in full. And along the way, my understanding is Supervisor Porcerelli told Mr. Velasco that he would cover it for, cover $500 of that expense. And that was how that was resolved. The reason I did not sign that check is I'm a personal friend of Mr. Velasco's, and I didn't think it was appropriate to sign a check for somebody I consider a personal friend. That's why I said it should be signed by somebody else besides me, so it doesn't look like I have been pushing or I have a conflict of interest. Did I originally say that he should be compensated for the full amount because it was a damage that I thought that we were responsible for? Yes, I did. And I would do the same thing for somebody else if I thought that it was a fault of the townships and the township should pay it. There were other issues that were not followed by, it should have gone through the insurance department, or through our insurance person. It should have gone through that person. It was not. The board, Supervisor Porcelli, we were not aware that at the time that it should have been taken straight to the insurance company. So I did nothing wrong there. I did what was appropriate, and I do not think that, again, your political statements, Ms. Bartlett, are accurate.
Let me make another political statement. I'm an attorney, and I do a conflict check before every board meeting. And if I have a conflict, I do not speak about the matter. I definitely don't vote, but I also don't speak about the matter. So if you advocate for him to get the check, you've already run over the conflict. And also, you never told or mentioned to the public that he's the president, I believe, of the Groseal Civic Association, for which you were a member in the past, and you still, and I can't confirm this, but I hear that you still attend some meetings. So that's a huge
You know what,
conflict,
Ms.
so you
Bartlett,
should not have
that,
brought up
that's
the
not
issue.
relevant to
Mr.
this
Supervisor, I still have a
conversation.
question for you when I can get some airtime, please.
Let's hold on, let's stop. Mark has asked me previous, he wanted to get in here. Mark?
Thank you. You mentioned you got a legal opinion from our attorney, is that correct?
Correct.
And did she say anything about a conflict in law where Kevin decides not to sign a certain check?
No, what was stated is, there's some reasons why that you, do not, or you have the authority, but you do not have to sign the check, but one of them isn't because you don't believe in what it is, or again, even like with Bob, being a friend doesn't count. You gotta do your job. If I okay it, you're gonna sign the check. If you don't wanna sign the check, we're gonna talk.
Okay.
So that's the
Yeah,
point.
it's
But
essentially
there's no
a
legal
three.
conflict with him not signing it, though, is that correct?
A legal conflict?
Right, are we putting ourselves in jeopardy or some kind of
Oh.
civil litigation situation if he decides to delegate a signature of a check?
No, we're not in any
Okay.
legal liability.
Okay, then I have nothing else.
I think that the delegation is fine. The problem is that you've withheld the authority of the deputy treasurer to sign checks, and then checks come and you don't sign them, and then the deputy treasurer doesn't know if they can sign them, and then eventually they do, and it delays payment. So I just think if you're going to say, hey, deputy treasurer, sign these checks for me, it needs to be a deliberate and efficient process and not something that comes out, so that it delays payment to people, which is what we had happen to the rec department twice now.
Well, I will say this, that the check the check for the barn, the reason I did not, I thought, let me put it this way, the check and the work, the whole thing had issues, and if you want me to go into the issues, I will.
No, you're not, no.
Right.
No, there's
Right.
no
Nobody-
issues, it's
right.
over. We voted to
Well,
do it, and we
the
did
check
it.
was signed, it was done in a timely manner. The checks for the recreation department were signed by the treasurer or deputy treasurer. I was there, they were signed. The last check, I put a note there to have it signed. There was no delay. If there was a delay, were there any delays in those checks that were?
I mean, we're supposed to render payment with the
times.
services.
Part of the delay is also there's a two-step process. So it's the initialing of the check stub to approve the payment and signing the check. When neither one is done, I have to find an alternate to have that second initial besides mine. That
Well,
sometimes
I-
causes a delay.
I,
Sometimes the deputy, honestly, the deputy treasurer has commented that if you're not signing it, she's not comfortable signing it. So then it goes to me. I'm the final
was that more
signer.
than one time?
It's been one time at this
One
point,
time.
yes.
So the most recent checks have been signed. I saw her sign them in front of me, today's check, I am assuming it was signed. It
They
was-
don't get signed until tomorrow after the check register's been
Okay.
approved.
And it was due last weekend.
That has nothing to do with me. That has to do when the check is prepared and when it's presented to me. So that's it's been done in a legal and timely manner.
Okay, so the bottom line here is there's gonna be some events or things that occur that you either don't believe in, you don't feel is correct, and you're not gonna sign the check. I just want that answer now, because that will depend upon which way I pivot and go. Because this is causing me more work, not a big deal, but when I gotta get called in, because I'm not here 8 hours a day to do things because you didn't do it or something occurred, I just wanna make sure I understand this. Are there gonna be things in the future that you don't believe in because of your political values, your moral values, or whatever values you believe you have, that you will not be signing checks? And this isn't an attack on you, Kevin.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, it's
I
not an
know-
attack. You stand by your beliefs in life. You put your feet in the sand and you stand by what you do and what you believe in life, and it's not an attack. This is just a question to you, because then I have to figure out what I'm going to do next. That's all.
Well, I'm not going to, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I will, going forward, I can pull things out of the check register, and if I have an issue with them, I will do that in the future.
Okay, that's fine.
I tried not to
Yep.
make it a political issue.
No, it's not a political issue. It's
It is.
about,
It is.
no, there's no politics. Nobody's voting. Nobody's trying to do anything.
Well-
You're not up for a vote. We're not up for a vote. We're not trying to get points. The bottom line is, we didn't believe you're doing your job that you're supposed to be doing, and you say, well, I am because I can delegate. So if you can delegate, that's fine.
I can delegate just the way the clerk can delegate, the way that,
That's fine.
you can delegate things too. If there's a problem with it, if it's illegal, if there's
I
an
didn't
issue.
say illegal.
Okay, I don't think it is illegal. There's, I will pull them out, and I would think that the taxpayers will be appreciative of the way I have handled it.
Well, I don't think all the taxpayers would.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
think
that.
You
we have-
represent a specific amount of taxpayers.
Yeah, there's,
Do
I don't want to
you
get
want me
into
to go
that.
into the issue?
I mean, you can if you
You
want.
You don't
I'm not
need to get into
embarrassed
the
or
issue.
ashamed.
I'm not
or-
embarrassed of anything that the township does or
not
voted
at all.
on, or that we okayed, because you don't believe in it, that's fine. I just want to know how
No,
you're going to
I
proceed
think-
further.
I think that there are taxpayers, again, what checks are signed by me has become a political issue. It's been used against me at meetings, so I am very careful and cautious what I sign.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're gonna move on here. We're done. We're done. We're all done right now. Okay, we're gonna vote on this, so the action item is for, again, how, Jameson, did you state that?
Motion to approve check registers and,
I'm sorry.
motion to approve check registers and invoice registers dated through March 6, 2026.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, motion carried, it's through.
I'll second it if you need it.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no.
you-
Yeah, we have that. I just,
Okay.
we had to just
I just wanted to make sure.
formally do it again. Okay. I'm sorry, Bill, but we beat a dead horse enough here, so I have my answers. We are at the no discussions tonight. Then Jameson, you are up on your clerk's report.
Okay, so the Township Recreation Commission did not meet this month. The meeting was postponed until April. Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee is going to be meeting on the 19th. In April, we're still, I think they ironed out the date, but I don't have it in front of me. Let me see. I'll pull it up, actually. I do it in front of me. On the 18th of April, we will be discussing with the bicycle safety and e-bike trainer how we can do some training around here and help improve some of the safety on the trails and whatnot, and hopefully do classes for the younger cyclists so they can understand all of the laws and requirements, especially for like the class 1 and 2 e-bikes, which routinely violate state trail law by accident, I'm sure. So, and then I completed 80 hours, Brian. I think it's 80 hours of clerk training the other day. So it was a significant amount of training, but I am now election qualified. So, and that's my report.
All right, thank you. Kevin, Treasurer's Report.
Good evening. This is for today's March 9th, 2026 Treasurer's Report. All 2025 unpaid real property taxes are now considered delinquent and must be paid directly to Wayne County with penalty fees. Wayne County online payment link, www.waynecounty.com/PTA, which can be found on the Treasurer's section of Grosville.com website as well, has the current 2025 delinquent tax information and the payment options available by mail, by phone, in person, or at the Wayne County kiosk inside the Sunoco, Brownstown, located at 21980 Sibley Road. To date, we collected 97.1% of the total 2025 tax roll, with all distributions made in a timely manner. 2025 pet licenses, 2026 pet licenses are still available at the Treasurer's office. Pet tag license fee is now $12 for the remainder of 2026. Be sure to provide proof of a current rabies certificate for your pet when applying for a pet license. And thank you for paying your taxes.
All right, thank you. The Trustees Report, Mickey, you are first.
Okay, we'll start with the Fire Commission. 8 new members finished Fire 1 and 2 training. They're now fully EMT and fire certified. There's going to be a graduation for them at our Fire Commission meeting on March 19th at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom. Also, 15 members wrapped up Ice Rescue 1 and 2. We now have all 28 members trained. There's going to be a flashover live burning training on Saturday at the soccer field, so if you see a fire, that's what it is. Chief Roscoe won't let me go. He said it's too dangerous. Job fair on March 21 there, noon to 3. And their next meeting again is March 19. For Greenways Open Space, hey Jameson, if you can jump in on this one is going to cover one of your areas.
Okay.
At the 250th anniversary meeting, you talked about doing a 5K run.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill Stevenson told me he does the 5K, or the Grosville Educational Foundation does that 5K race every year, and that if you wanted to, they could just like put on the shirts to dedicate it to our 250th anniversary.
Yeah, I can link up with him and see if we can. I think it happens during the same window, so I think we could just tie it in with some branding. To be honest.
Just so you know, I think Chad gave us Karen's name, Karen Lucy, and from what I understand, she supports the idea. So you may want to talk to her as well. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you for that. The committee will be, the Greenways Open Space Committee will be asking for a small millage. We're just almost completely out of funds just to maintain the trails, so that'll be later this year. We'll be setting a date for this spring dump the junk, and working to increase encroachment enforcement. Just want to let you know too, the trails are surprisingly dry right now considering the rain we got recently, so it's a good time to get out on the trails. Open Space is working with the Grosville Nature and Land Conservancy in the schools to prepare for Earth Day this year. Chairman Bill Stevenson submitted an analysis of our goals for this year to the Township newsletter and also to the Grosville Brand. So Margaret, thank you for working with him on that. Next meeting is March 11th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. And except for the meeting, the March 11th meeting, meetings are held on the first Tuesday of the month. There's no meeting in July, August, or December. And then real quick for the Grosville Nature and Land Conservancy, tomorrow they're having bluebirds and cavity nesting birds from 6 to 7:30 at the John C. Jackson Resource Center on Macomb. And Sunday, March 22nd, they're having Signs of Springtime from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in Meridian Woods. And I've gone to a lot of those classes. They're really good and worthwhile going to.
All right, thank you, Mickey. Margaret, you are up.
For communications, we'll be compiling the data from the communication survey very soon. I've seen the raw data. It's got a lot of interesting information in it. It was very, for the most part, I would say very positive. So I'm looking forward to that, and I believe we'll be sharing that on the Township website. For the Police Commission, our next commission meeting is March 17th at 7 p.m. We're also going to be having a study session with the board on Monday, March 16th to review police millage proposal. So over the past several months, we have examined every available option to us, and the reality still remains that our police department has been underfunded for at least the past 10 years, and that situation has not changed this year. So what we've done is what some have done in the past, and we have leveraged some of our forfeiture money, which there was a change that allowed us to use that for overtime, and that's what we've done in this case. But that funding will run out very quickly, so we're very concerned about that, and we're going to review another option, and we're asking potentially residents for a millage. And that's basically it for me.
All right, thank you, Margaret. William, you're up.
I had the opportunity on the Airport Commerce Park to speak with Janelle McNee today. She's a very busy lady. I needed some documents to refresh my memory on some past issues. Sometimes you can look at an issue and think about it and say, wait a minute, I want to review that thought. It's because you're concerned about the consequences of your choice, how this will impact the future. And with issues like that, I sometimes wrestle with them, but she was very kind and helped me with information, and I'm grateful for that. In the near future, the Planning Commission is going to be getting together, and I've got to get a hold of John Schweiker to catch up on what's necessary for me to be informed. But that part concludes my two reports. But I do have a comment I'd like to share. I didn't get a chance a moment ago about this check signing and purchasing thing. I happen to have been working at Cadillac Motor Car Division, and I was a second signer for checks for the corporation. And I have no idea how many checks I signed. It was a stack. The system was pretty well worked out, though. The purchasing agent made very clear, the purchasing guy, on what the procedures would be, and everybody followed them. And there were maybe 4 or 6 people who were first signers, and another half a dozen who were second signers. And if you couldn't get a second signer here, you got a second signer there. But the system also had a built-in situation where you could question. I'm not quite sure I would say protest, but you needed to know sometimes what to look out for. And I got some special training for that. I mean, one of the big things they were interested in was fasteners. If you had 2 different metals go together and you bought them that way to save money, and then there was a metallic reaction, some kind of metallurgical chemical thing, you'd have rust or metal failure, and you didn't want that. And so you double check if you saw something there that just happened to be missed. And once or twice, I found something. But it was all done in a spirit of cooperation with an understanding that it had to be done in a timely way, and the system was set up for that. Somehow in here, I'm thinking that cooperation is where the answer is to this situation. And I'm just offering a food for thought there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Mark, you are up.
Thank you. I'll make mine quick. I sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals, I'm the liaison there. We do have an appeal scheduled for the end of the month, which is normally the 4th Tuesday of the month. I'm not going to go into details about the appeal at this point. We're trying to schedule it for the 31st, which is the 5th Tuesday of the month. I will have a confirmation for the next meeting for those of you who are interested in this particular appeal, and I'll go into a little more details at that time. I just would like to, make a suggestion for Fire Commission, actually, and Mickey, not the end. I'm not asking for any answers right now. I'm just asking if the commission would consider having the meetings a little bit later in the day. I know a lot of folks are having a hard time showing up for those, particularly myself. And I would like to attend some if I can, but it's just something I'm requesting you guys would take into consideration at a future meeting. And that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Derek, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Just a quick couple items for this evening. The next DPS meeting will be in April. We will not be having one in March. Well, that normally would have occurred tomorrow, but the next one will be in April. The Toll Bridge Commission meeting is next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Watch your emails for an email from Margie regarding next week's study session. She sent that out earlier, but we'll try to poll you as far as availability for an additional study session or your preference to add that and potentially a closed session to next Monday's study session. If there is a closed session, I'm assuming, Brian, that it would have to be a special meeting, is that correct? Not just a study session?
Correct.
All right, so we'll have to change that if that's going to be the case, but please respond timely to the emails tomorrow that you receive as far as your availability and preference. Just a suggestion from the DPS department, we've been noticing a lot of catch basins that are full of leaves. So if you have leaves that are clogging a catch basin out in front of your house, if you can do us a favor and remove those leaves as we get the rain that's scheduled the next couple of days, that'll help with drainage and keep the roads from flooding. So please pay attention to that if you have a catch basin in front of your house. And then last but not least, thank you to the board and the managers, the finance department, the finance director, for all their help with putting the budget together over this past month and a half. I know it's been tedious and has involved a lot of work, but everybody's, I think, worked well together to put together, I believe, what is a budget that we can hopefully agree to on March 23rd, because there has been a lot of conversation and effort that's gone into putting that together. So thank you to everybody that has had a hand in that, and that concludes my report. Yes.
May I ask a question for people that are physically unable to clean out their catch basin? Is there some way the township can?
Absolutely. If you notice that and you're unable to assist, feel free to give us a call at Township Hall and we'll do our best to go ahead and take care of that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. I have just a couple things tonight. First off, for everyone, remember that Allen Road will be closed on that. Now, I was told it's going to be a 3-year project for the train issue. When you come down Van Horn, you're not going to be able to turn right on Allen Road. You can go straight on Van Horn, or you can turn left, which is southbound. You cannot go northbound on Allen Road from the intersection there. And also, I talked to the engineer on the job there. The trains will be running. That was a question. In other words, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'd stay away from that area if you can, because the train from the switching station over there near Hall Road, where you go, where that new light is, what's the new street they put? What's it called? Ford
Lane.
Drive or Ford, whatever?
Ford Drive, Ford Avenue, but then
Yeah.
also on the west side.
Right
of,
there, the
tracks.
trains will still be coming out of there. They have some kind of special way. They actually can have those trains keep moving while the construction's going on. I don't get it. I asked the guy if I can come down there and take a look at it when they put that in. But they have some kind of track they put in, believe it or not. It's amazing. It's a brand new thing, so the trains will be running. I would try to avoid that if you can. That's all I'm gonna say, but it'll be Monday, 3:23, it's gonna start. So anyway, next thing is, I wanted to just go over the road work's gonna start in the spring again. And, we told you at the other meeting, there'll be a list, by next month to show which roads, but what's very, interesting and it just shows with Wayne County, we're in negotiations with Wayne County, for them now to do the rest, well, not the rest of East River Road, but a portion of East River Road, from Ferry to the north, I'm sorry, it'd be to the south. From Ferry to the south to redo that. So, hopefully we'll get the county, as you know, they did Meridian Road last year. We want to get them to do the rest of East River Road, this year. So, with that, that's all I have, for tonight. And is there, hold on, I got the podium in my way here.
No.
That'd be a no. No public comment, and you said nothing came in, correct, Brian? Correct. Okay, then, with that, I'll need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, we're done.